This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Bordeaux Pines, by James Harris. Chapter 1. Albert Carlson was exhausted, tired of the jarring saddle of his motorbike, the cramped posture of his arms, the monotonous thrum of the engine, and above all, the bleak, barren landscape he was traversing. He had left Pau early that morning, and aside from a brief stop in Bayonne for lunch and a quick business call, he had been on the road all day. It was now after 5 o'clock, and the last road sign indicated he was still 26 kilometers from Bordeaux, where he planned to spend the night. "This road never ends," he grumbled. "I really need to stretch my legs." A short distance ahead, he noticed a bridge marked by a hump in the otherwise straight white ribbon of the road, flanked by parapet walls. He shut off the engine and let the bike coast to a stop at the top. Dismounting, he propped the bike on its stand, stretched luxuriously, and surveyed his surroundings. Before and behind him, the road stretched out flat and monotonous as far as the eye could see, much like it had for most of the day's journey. Whereas earlier, he had ridden through open, desolate expanses of sand and sedge, now he found himself in the heart of a pine forest, equally somber in its own way. The road felt isolated, hemmed in by the dense forest on either side, a dark and forbidding expanse that seemed ready to swallow the narrow strip of asphalt. The atmosphere was tinged with the resinous aroma of the pines, but this was overshadowed by the gloomy, oppressive feel of the forest. The long, ugly gashes left by resin collectors on the tree trunks only added to the sense of decay, as if the trees were suffering from some disease. To Carlson, the area seemed utterly deserted. In the 2 hours since he had passed through La Beauhaire, he couldn't recall seeing a single living soul, except for the occasional motor car, and even those had been few and far between. He leaned on the old bridge, taking a drag from his cigarette. Except for the distant hum of a vehicle approaching, the spring evening was peaceful. The river curved gently to the left, flowing dark and sluggish between flat banks lined with pines that grew right up to the water's edge. Enjoying a rare moment of calm, Carlson took off his cap, letting the cool air touch his forehead. He was a pleasant-looking man in his late 20s, clean-shaven, with honest gray eyes, dark hair with a slight curl, and a strong, well-defined jaw. Business had brought him to France. As a junior partner in Edwards and Carlson, wine merchants, based in London, he made an annual tour of the exporters his firm worked with. He had traveled across the south of the country from Sète to Pau, and was now about to head back from Bordeaux towards Avignon, finishing his trip. To him, this part of his job was a joy, almost like a vacation. The vehicle he heard approaching was now close, and he turned to watch it pass. He didn't realize that this casual glance would change his life completely, and the lives of many others he didn't yet know, leading to both sorrow and happiness, crime and justice. Had he not looked, this story would never have been told. The vehicle itself was unremarkable, a 5-ton motor lorry, moving slowly. Carlson's interest turned to the driver, a good-looking man of about 30, with sharp features, an aquiline nose, and dark, intelligent eyes. Despite being dressed in rough work clothes, there was something about his appearance and stance that suggested he was of higher social standing than his job implied. Ex-officer, Carlson thought as his gaze shifted to the truck behind him. It was painted a grimy green, and was empty except for a single heavy casting, clearly part of a large machine. On the side was a brass plate that read in English, "The Landis Pit Prop Syndicate, No. 4. Carlson was somewhat surprised to see a nameplate in his own language in such an unexpected place, but it didn't hold his interest, and he soon dismissed it. The truck rumbled past, and Carlson, now rested, turned to restart his bike. But his troubles for the day weren't over. On the ground below his tank was a stain, and as he watched, a drop fell from the carburetor feed pipe, followed by another and another. He bent down to check and quickly found the problem. The feed pipe was attached to the bottom of the tank with a union, and the nut had worked itself loose.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.